Ahoy friends, welcome to Building the Alpha Dory. I'm Dan and this is a project to build an 1890s era racing dory in the style of William Chamberlain of Marblehead. We're building to the plans included in John Gardner's book, The Dory Book, illustrations by Sam Manning. It's a beautiful afternoon. Let's get out into the shop. Alright, so just mark the gain in, on this plank. The face of the plank and the edge of the plank. Now I'll cut it. Gotta go down a little bit further here to hit the go from there to there. So pretty much where this and so there's the game cut on, this is the top edge, bow, on the starboard side. Alright, now the stern gain for the top edge of the port plank. And I'll adjust the deadman on the bench, and do the other end where the see how the grain is down here. Not a whole lot better. Okay, so it's actually gonna get better as I come down. Just chasing some kind of wonky grain there for a bit. If that's even a word, wonky. Just chasing some contrary grain there. You can see it's getting a lot better if we're going in this direction now. It's still crazy grain there, but that's because I just cut out a couple knot holes out of the board. So we're right adjacent, we're knot hole adjacent. We're not directly in a knot hole. I guess that's the price I pay for having a loft in the barn. Now these two roll off. Alright, that's looking pretty good. We hit it right here. Just feeling a little high spot just before the scribe line. That's good though. Okay, so now that I've cut these two ends, I can lower this Redmond enough to raise those. Raise the other end of the planks up to the point where I can plane it. Because right now they're below the edge of the bench. Yeah, that looks pretty good up here. Yeah, so now I can raise this. Raise this dead one. I'll have a good firm foundation to work on. Okay, and so now the bow of the port and the stern of the starboard. should slide these down as far as possible. They're flexing too much where they're at. I need a better, need them to be better supported, especially for planing them. Which means I'm going to have to raise this deadman as well. Oh. Yeah, that's going to be a lot better. It'll only be 1.5 feet off the bench rather than 2.5 feet, almost 3 feet off the bench. So I'm really kind of liking the way this little broad axe has been working on the gains. You can get a pretty good adjustment of the angle of the blade by fairly fine adjustments of the bottom of the handle. And then I've kind of been controlling the angle of the blade with my right hand, which is my dominant hand, and then providing most of the power to the blade with my left hand. So. It seems to work pretty well. Like I say, typically you'd use a draw knife for cutting these bevels, but these planks are so long that I can't get them on the bench, and then when they're up against the wall, the handle of the draw knife gets in the way of the wall, or the other way around, I guess. So, that's the top edge of the port plank. bubble. Alright, so I just adjusted this Stedman on the bench clamp to hold just the starboard plank, which now I'll mark for the game. I spend more time walking up and down the length of the shop than I do actually working. Alright, so this is the outside of the plank. Outside of the top edge of the plank, which means that the remaining edge will be on the inside of the plank, so the bevel goes on the outside. That's good. Continue this right along to the end. I've already got the scribe line in here, so we're good to go with that. And we'll see what the grain's doing here. There's a lot of sap in here, but it's not sapwood, it's actually pitch. So yeah, it's basically a pitch pocket or fat wood, which is not at all the same as sapwood as far as rotting. Sapwood is highly rot prone, whereas pitch, wood that is just saturated and infused with pitch is incredibly rot resistant. So definitely getting into some wonky grain here. You can see there's a knot right here. So the grain for the knot is going back up into the wood. So that's the bulk of the wood that's coming off anyway, so we can go to the plane now. The plane is far less likely to get caught up in squirrely grain. Maybe I'll take a little bit more off that end. Famous last words. But yeah, so this is the basics of building any see it's a little flexible back here. I should take this little brace that I made for going off the bench. I should bring it right back to the end of the door here, and then I'd essentially carry the length of my bench back to the door. And as long as you've got flexible material, which this wood certainly is, then you can actually use that curve in there. Before I plane the other side of these boards. So the other thing I'm doing with the plane while I'm cutting this is I'm actually planing with the back end a little bit high, so that blade is cutting down into the top edge of this plank as it goes along, and it helps it. Helps it get a little bit better grip on the wood. Slice a little bit better. Alright, well, let's see what we can do about a bench extension, because that would be nice. I've got 2 more planks to make after these. I think it's worthwhile. Okay, so here's a look at what I'm working with at the moment for the bench extension. So here's the bench, alright, and it comes down and it ends right here at the wall of the shop. And then for this project I opened the doors of the shop and built a quick and dirty shed roof that extends out over the doors. Jammed the cracks full of newspaper. So when I'm planing the boards, these boards, you can see they're up against the back wall of the shop and coming out right along the door, so they're well off the bench. So this is the sort of cobbled together setup that I've been using. So first of all, I just added this vertical piece of wood on here as a brace. Then I realized I'd need to adjust the height of that notch there that I cut in it for the planks. So actually the next thing I think I did was I realized I'd need to extend the bracing similar to like the bench does. I need to extend the bracing out further because the boards were too flexible to support themselves. So what I did was I took this piece of wood and I cut it to cut it to fit, and it comes out to here on the door. So just like maybe a 1.25 feet out along the door. And what it does is it transitions wood from being clamped. Here's the bench vise. Wood that's clamped on edge, like you've seen by that vise, transitions out and past the wall, and then the bottom edge of the boards is getting caught in this little notch here, which keeps them from dropping, and this edge keeps them from flexing in when I'm applying the pressure to plane them. So what I think I need to do is just make another one of these boards that's better, that goes out the length of the shop right to the edge of the shop door, and then I'll have support behind the wood that I'm planing, you know, all the way out to the end of the shop door. Now this was kind of just cobbled together as a and the inside of this is braced by this little stick of wood that's nailed to here. So that's what, and it just rests against the stud and keeps this section from flexing in, you know, because otherwise this part of the wood would also be unsupported along the bench. So what I think I need to do is just make a better one of these. And in the process, maybe what I'll do is take this brace and bring it right down to bench level, so it's just sitting on the bench itself rather than kind of up in the air, higher than the bench, which is part of why I have to keep rocking the boards. Like I do one end, then I planed the back end that's underneath the loft. And then I lowered the dog down there to raise the board enough up here where it'll be up above this brace. So that's part of what's kind of messing with my productivity as far as the speed of cutting the gains, because I have to keep readjusting the board in the vise and readjusting the dog heights. So yeah, I guess this video is pretty much over, but that'll be sort of a quickie project for the afternoon, get that done, and then hopefully finish cutting the gains in the next video. Alright guys, well thanks for stopping by building the Alpha Dory. Thanks for all of the support. Really appreciate your comments, questions, critiques, all that stuff. And yeah, without you guys, these videos definitely would not be possible. So a big thank you to all you out there watching, and we'll see you next video. Have a great day. God bless.